Welcome back to Movin' Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch The Great Muppet Caper 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And we are very excited to be joined today by a first-time guest. Tell the listeners who you are, guest.
Hello, my name is Eric Brown, longtime listener, first-time caller.
Longtime tough friend of Tough Pigs, too, going way back to the early days of the forum. So,
Yes. I want to apologize up ahead for anyone who thinks I'm Eric Adams from the AV Club.
Different Eric.
Yes.
But you are one of the most frequent discussers of the podcast on the Tough Pigs forum.
Yes.
So we wanted to make sure to have you on to share some of your thoughts.
Yes. Every week I listen to the podcast and I make notes and then I post it up on the forum. So anyone who wants to find out what I thought about all the past episodes, they can just go to the Tough Pigs forum and read my comments.
When this episode goes up, do you think you'll post on the forum to talk about what you thought of your own comments?
Yeah, I'll probably listen to it and then I'll make notes on my own performance and
Sounds good.
All right, awesome. And you are here to discuss minutes 73 and 74 of The Great Muppet Caper. In these minutes, Lady Holiday announces her plans to put the baseball diamond away in the Mallory Gallery. Nikki and the models discuss their plans to steal it, and the Muppets hatch their plan to stop Nikki and the models. So we start here. We very briefly see Lady Holiday. She just says that the baseball diamond will go on permanent display at the Mallory Gallery. That's her whole thing here. So, I mean, we've talked about this before, but Eric, anything you want to say about Diana Rigg before we move on?
Yes, she is just lovely in this movie. I love in this little bit when she's saying won't be on my person. She gives this little head shake, and or in my possession, and she gives another little head shake as she says it. It's wonderful head shaking acting. She is quite amazing.
Yeah, she's great.
That
she really
acting,
is.
Yes.
It's one of those things where I feel like I've run out of ways to praise Diana Rigg. So I'm really glad that we have guests on who haven't had the chance yet.
I don't think we've praised her head shaking yet, so that was good.
There you go. And then we see Nikki. We pan over to Nikki and the models, and Nikki reminds the models what their plan is to steal the diamond, which they all know this already, right? Like, he's only saying this out loud so that Gonzo can overhear it.
Right, and
it's almost like it's just a movie.
Almost.
Yeah.
But I love the way this whole shot is done, where it's Nikki listening at the curtain, and then it kind of whips over to Nikki in this very tight shot talking to the three models, telling them what they already know, and then they do their evil laugh. And then it whips down to Gonzo, still in the same shot. There are no cuts. It's like, here's what you need to know, and it's just so, like, it's so quick and efficient about it.
Yeah, It's great. Well, and you mentioned their maniacal laugh, which is of course, to me makes that whole scene worth it, because they're all just so over the top about it.
Oh yeah,
it's like, yes, we're going to do it. Whatever. What's the time? Tuesday at 8 p.m. or whatever. Tuesday at midnight. Yeah.
Midnight.
And they all just start laughing, and it's great. It's so much fun. It's so over the top.
They're very pleased with themselves.
Croton is just so over the top. It's amazing. I made a note about that.
Yeah, which he is throughout this movie, and I never get sick of it. He's so much fun.
He's very broad and over the top all through the movie, and yet it perfectly works.
Right. Well, and I feel like there are some actors who go broad when they're working with Muppets because they feel like they need to match the puppet's energy or something, and often I find that very off-putting.
Yes.
So I guess I don't want to name names, but let's say the co-writer and lead actor of the 2011 film, who I think is very, tries to match the Muppets' energy and just kind of seems like a bad actor in that. But we will talk about that more in a few years, I suppose.
Yeah, it's probably a tricky thing, though, because Charles Grodin in this movie is definitely being silly, or kind of he's being sort of stylized in his acting style. And I would say the same thing about Charles Durning in the Muppet movie. He was doing this sort of caricature, but we like those performances. We think those are good. So I guess there's a very fine line.
Well, and even in that movie, I think Amy Adams is really good, who's also kind of being very broad. So
Yeah.
Right. She's playing this sort of cutesy character, but I guess she never takes it quite to the point of taking it too far.
right.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, like you say, it's a fine line. But we see very little of Charles Grodin here because from here on out, it's all Muppets for the rest of this scene. It might be the most.
Yay!
I mean, Gonzo has overheard this, and he goes home and he tells everyone. Which I don't know why the entire hotel is in on this plan now. When last we knew, they all just wanted to use the bathroom. But I'm really glad that they are because it's so much fun that we have this whole scene of all the Muppets just hanging out.
Well, it does kind of seem like it's been a long time since we saw all of these characters, but we did see them about 10 minutes ago riding bikes.
Yeah,
that's true.
But really all they were doing is riding bikes, and they each got a line of the song. So, yeah, it's nice to see them all together actually being funny.
Yeah, and so the first thing we hear is Gonzo is saying, so there I was backstage under a table. And I like that we're still looking at him backstage under a table.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes.
we're stuck on this shot of Gonzo looking shocked as he starts his lines, which I think is a really nice touch.
Good editing there.
Yeah, for sure. Great job.
But then
what's his name?
he was taking
Ralph something.
Oh, I don't remember the editor's name.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways, it's Ralph something.
But good job.
Great job, Ralph something.
Good job,
Go
Ralph
on, Eric.
something.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a name like Anita Man.
Right,
I'll remember that. I'll remember that choreographer forever.
Right. Ralph Kemplin. All right, go on, Eric.
Yes. Then Gonzo says he was taking kneecap photos, and it got me thinking that I mean this was a product of its era, but sort of the there's a bit of sexism in this movie, male gaze. We just before this we had the Waldorf and Statler synchronizing their pacemakers for the bikinis.
Yeah, and
Gonzo says hubba hubba at least once during this movie.
Yeah, right, and we've talked about that, how Gonzo is kind of a perv in this movie.
There's also a shot at that fashion show where he sees a woman crossing her legs and takes a picture of it, which is pretty awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Does Gonzo have some sort of leg fetish?
Maybe.
Like, I feel like when he just has a chicken fetish, we're just like, okay, it's chickens. Who cares? But it's like when he's lusting after humans, it feels ickier somehow.
I hadn't thought of that as being the motivation for his photographic essay on kneecaps, though. I guess I just figured he was taking pictures of everyone's kneecaps. But I don't know. I guess it is mostly models backstage. So, yeah, maybe there's something to that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess you're right. It's probably more innocent than the leg thing at the fashion show, but still, it feels close enough that, I don't know. Gonzo's a freak, man.
He is. That's
yeah.
But I also like that after he says, I was doing a photographic essay on kneecaps, everyone in the room just kind of nods and goes, mm-hmm,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also a good example of how the Muppets can make things funnier because they can make weirder jokes. Like in any other movie, you might just have somebody like, oh, I was coming back from the bathroom and I overheard these people talking about this conspiracy to rob, to steal the baseball diamond. But here, they take it a step in a weirder direction by having Gonzo sitting under a table taking pictures of people's knees.
Well, and of course, also Gonzo is tiny, which helps.
Right?
Like,
yeah.
He doesn't need to be shoved under a table.
It is very Gonzo, the kneecaps. It's
right.
Yeah.
For sure. So then Gonzo announces that the gang plans to steal the diamond. Janice says, "Bummer," which I love. And then everyone just talks. Everyone just makes noise for 12 seconds. It's like a dang Robert Altman movie.
Well, actually, before that, Floyd says, "What's the plan, man?" And Gonzo says, "I already told you, Tuesday at midnight at the Mallory Gallery," which is another one of these sort of exposition things where it's really for our benefit in the audience, but the characters are like, I always love that, like on a TV show with a serialized storyline where one character will be like, so remind me what's been going on lately, or, that kind of like, remind me why we're doing this, and then they deliver exposition which the other character should really already know, but they just need to let the audience know.
It's plot exposition.
Right.
It has to go somewhere.
Yeah, so Floyd is asking what's going to happen, and Gonzo's like, I just told you, Tuesday at midnight at the Mallory Gallery, but it's...
Well, you mentioned on TV shows when they do that. because those scenes are often used on like a previously on thing where it'll be like previously on Lost or whatever, and then it'll show Hurley explaining what had happened to somebody else, you know.
Yeah.
But this scene serves that exact function in the trailer that was on a ton of Henson VHS releases in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Like in that trailer, which I feel like I saw, it was on Muppet Christmas Carol. It was on like the Emmett Otter VHS tape. Like I feel like I have so many tapes with the Muppet movie and Great Muppet Caper trailers in it. And on that trailer, we see Gonzo saying they're going to steal the baseball diamond. Let me see. I wrote them all down. In that trailer, we see Gonzo saying, "I heard him planning to steal the baseball diamond." We hear Fozzie say, "We don't want the bad guys to win."
Yeah.
And we hear Kermit's whole speech about embarking on a potentially dangerous mission, which is like intercut with examples of physical violence and gunplay and all this.
Yeah,
so
I think the scene probably has like the most representation in that trailer of like any other scene in this movie.
Right, for sure.
Well,
yeah,
it kind of summarizes the whole last act of the movie here. It tells you everything that's going to happen.
That's right. Yeah.
So here's the very strange thing about that trailer. I went and watched it just before this. The lines, "We're going to have to catch those thieves red-handed," and "What color are their hands now?" Those lines are in the trailer, but not in this scene.
Right. Beauregard is in his cab when they show him.
Yes, and Kermit is walking up to the curb to get the cab when he says, "We're going to have to catch those." They just dropped that dialogue from the scene over that one. And then they cut to Beauregard in his cab where he's actually supposed to be saying, like, you know, inviting them into the cab.
Did you want me to stop or what?
It was a line after that, but
okay.
yeah. But I'm like...
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, that's a really weird choice. And maybe they think people don't notice because the Muppets don't lip sync like humans do.
Yeah, you can do it. It's possible. It's easier to do with the Muppets.
But it's still a weird choice.
Well, here's my guess.
Okay.
Like you said, this scene is very well represented.
Very good
so
point.
I wonder if they didn't want more. I wonder if they didn't want it to visually look like the whole movie is the Muppets sitting in a room. More shots of things that aren't the Muppets sitting in a room, right?
Yeah, like, the Great Muppet Caper is packed with Muppets sitting on a bed.
Right. So that's my guess for why they would do that. Oh, sure.
I'd watch that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty
Murphy
good
bed
guess,
springing up every 5 seconds or whatever. Great.
Yeah.
Love it. But yeah, so anyways, then after Gonzo says his news, everyone just makes noise. I counted, it's 12 seconds of just everyone talking.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't really pick out any particular lines after Floyd's one about the plan, right? Or Gonzo's response.
No, not in this particular moment.
But of course it all leads up to Kermit yelling quiet. And then Janice says, "Look, Mother, it's my life, okay? So if I want to live on a beach and walk around naked."
One of the most famous and beloved jokes from this movie.
Yes.
Well, and it's like, it's one of those things where, why isn't that tasteless? Like, why is that a perfect joke when, like, later on, every time the Muppets try to do that kind of adult humor, it seems terrible? What's the difference?
I don't know.
Well, I think
Janice,
part of it has to do with the fact that it's Janice and she's sort of a guileless character. I mean, now you have a lot of material like that is given to a character like Pepe, who is definitely more of an aggressive, like, we know that Pepe is a horn dog. When he says something inappropriate, we sort of wish that they hadn't made those jokes.
Mm-hmm.
But with Janice, I think there is a kind of innocence to it.
Yeah, well, and like, to bring up, I think that it also, like, now that you mention that, Pepe seems like he is going to prey on women,
right,
like, at all times, and Janice seems like she's just doing this for herself.
Janice is just this
like,
mellow
Janice
hippie
wants
chick
to
who
be
just,
free.
Right. There's nothing. Right. It's just about her talking about how she wants to live her life. That's all it is.
Maybe it's just because it comes out of nowhere. I mean, like, compared to, say, Fozzie's fart shoes. It's sort of Janice's line is sort of a button on the joke of everyone talking and no one be able to hear anything. If you just try and do something like that standalone, it doesn't work as well. But as a button on that joke, it seems to work.
Right, that's a really good point. It's the punchline.
That's a good point too. Yeah,
and I think a lot of it just really has to do with it being Janice. I don't know that it would have been as funny with any other character in that room.
I mean, they do again in the next movie.
Yeah.
Although, like, what's interesting to me is in that movie, Janice is talking about not taking her clothes off when asked to, right? Like, which gives us the impression that she'll do it for herself, man. But no man is going to tell Janice to take her clothes.
Again, she's asserting her independence.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Janice is woman, hear her.
Yeah, roar. Janice rules.
Yeah, Janice is great.
For sure. But so then, after that, there's an awkward silence, and then Kermit says that they'll have to catch the thieves red-handed. And as we've already discussed, Beauregard says, "What color are their hands now?"
Another one of the most popular and famous jokes from this movie.
It's all in this scene. Just all the great lines in this scene.
Yeah, over and over, because it's one of the best scenes in the movie. But that's one of those things where I feel like that joke must have been made. Else, like, that joke must predate this movie, right? It feels so much like a Three Stooges joke or an Abbott and Costello joke or something.
Yeah, it's likely. I can't think of anywhere else I've heard it, but yeah. Yeah,
it just, I mean, it's such a, like, so many comedy teams have the, like, cheerful dumb guy who's going to say something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
The Muppets have several of those.
Yeah.
Right. And if it is, like, obviously I don't mean that as, oh, it was plagiarized. I just mean it feels so much like a, 1940s studio comedy joke.
Yeah. And
it's perfect.
The Muppets have definitely borrowed from joke traditions before by appropriating jokes from vaudeville and whatnot.
For sure. And it feels like that, even though I can't think of it.
Yeah, it occurs to me, too. I didn't even think to look up the actual etymology of the phrase red-handed. Why do we say red-handed? Where does that come from?
That's a very good question.
I guess we'll have to look that up for next time.
I'll look it up and I'll post it on the forum when when this podcast
sounds
is
good.
released.
All right, sounds good. Sorry,
Janice saying that line to?
Yeah.
Talking to Gonzo?
Yeah, well, it sounds like she's telling the story to somebody. Like, this is, can you believe what this conversation I had with my mom? But then it doesn't really look like she's talking to anyone in particular.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't tell.
Yeah.
Gonzo would be a natural audience for such a thing.
Yeah.
But because he's a freak again. But yeah, so then Kermit says the line that I alluded to earlier is being in the trailer. We're about to embark on a potentially dangerous mission. There could be physical violence, there could be gunplay, and there's the slightest chance that somebody might even get killed.
Yikes.
Which, it does such a great job of establishing that the climax of this movie will have real stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the whole movie's just been a goof and a laugh, and we're all in a movie, so who cares?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why they have Kermit hit that so hard, that it's like, no, this is the climax of the movie. Be invested.
It's getting real.
Don't assume that don't assume that we're all just actors who are going to go home at the end of the day, right? Somebody might even get killed.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed just thinking about this scene and the scenes on either side of it, there is not going to be another song in this musical comedy until the very end credits at this point.
Yeah. Huh. I guess that's right.
After Piggy's fantasy, the whole rest of the movie is just this heist and all this action caper stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there in the title, to be fair.
Yes. The Great Muppet Action Caper stuff.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. Great Muppet Caper. Oh, okay.
But so then after Kermit establishes the stakes, of course, everyone says that they don't want to do it.
Right.
Can you blame them, though?
Someone might get killed.
Also, why don't they just call the police first?
That wouldn't be funny?
It wouldn't be funny, but I guess, I don't know. I wonder why Kermit immediately went to, we have to catch them red-handed. Like, we don't want to call the police. We have to break into the Mallory Gallery, and see them catching the diamond, and somehow
Look,
that will help us bring them to justice.
Well, ever since the beginning of the movie, when they asked Mr. Tarkanian to send them to London, it was because they wanted to find and catch the thieves.
That's true. Kermit said, we'll catch those jewel thieves.
Right.
Yes.
Kermit wants to be the hero. That's why.
Yeah, that's his goal.
Yes.
Yeah, he wants to be the hero of this movie, you know. But anyway, but I was going to say a couple of things about everyone saying that they don't want to do it. First of all, I've always thought it was really funny that Pops has a dental appointment.
At midnight, apparently.
Yeah, that's really... and of course, Pops doesn't have any teeth. So that's all great. But Floyd says, don't we have a gig or something?
I think that's Zoot.
Yeah, Zoot said that.
Oh, Zoot says it? Okay. Zoot says, don't we have a gig or something? But Floyd established in the Happiness Hotel, the song, that they only stay there between gigs, and it's been 5 years. So no, they don't have a gig. They haven't had one in 5 years.
Sounds like you caught Zoot red-handed.
What color are his hands now?
They're kind of a greenish, bluish.
Yeah.
Now it's not the time for that kind of humor. But also, is it just me, or Bunsen says ditto in like the most stilted way Dave Goelz has ever said anything?
Yeah, I guess so. It sounds funny.
Yeah, I guess it's just one word, and that's why.
Ditto.
Like, Dave Goelz has to make it sound like Bunsen, and it's just 2 syllables.
Yeah.
You know? But any other thoughts about everyone's excuses and all that stuff?
Yeah, I was trying to see how many I could actually pick out. Everyone is talking at once, but I managed to hear Janice is saying something about how she has to go to work all day, and then it sounds like she says, I have to make alfalfa sprouts and all sorts of good things.
Yeah.
So that's
really good.
Yeah, and that's very plausible for Janice. And then Floyd just says, they didn't say nothing about no danger. Mm-mm.
Well, that's pretty good.
So that's all the reason he needs.
Yeah. Side note, when Janice is talking, we get a nice shot of the interior of her mouth. And in the continuing saga of Janice's epiglottis, this is on the range of not all that dangly.
Oh, okay. So her uvula is not hanging and dangling down.
So that switched back and forth over the years, right?
I think it got more and more dangly as time went on.
I think that's what... So I did write an article, a very hard-hitting expose about Janice's uvula for toughpigs.com a couple years ago, which I can link to in the show notes. And yeah, I think generally what I found was that it became more noticeably dangly as the years have gone on.
Huh. Interesting.
Mildly interesting.
Yep.
Mildly interesting, yes.
That's the bailiwick of this podcast.
That's absolutely true. Mildly interesting. Raves, our biggest fan. All right. So then everyone's talking again. Fozzie yells, "Hold it! Shame on you!" And
Another great line. Another from the trailer.
Also in the trailer.
The next line is from the trailer.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. We don't want the bad guys to win. It's in the trailer. But Fozzie says, "I thought we were in this thing together," which again, considering that other than him, Gonzo, and Kermit, none of these characters have discussed this before this scene.
They've also only known each other for about 2 days.
Right. So why did Fozzie think they were all in this together?
Well, and not only that, but the rest of these guys, they rode in a bus with Piggy, and then they rode their bikes next to her. So none of them really has any kind of relationship with Piggy to want to go on this dangerous mission to help her.
Right. But here's the thing. Fozzie brings them over to his side by saying, "I'm just as scared as you are, but this has to be done."
Yeah.
Which is such a nice piece of characterization for Fozzie.
This is really well written.
You know? Yeah, Fozzie's great.
Yeah. That line...
It's St. Crispin's Day speech.
Sure.
It's a St. Crispin's Day speech, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I really like his delivery on, "We don't want the bad guys to win."
Yeah, which again is burned in your brain from that trailer.
Yes, probably. But that's also, I thought about that line a lot on election night of 2016 as the results were coming in. It's like, well, as the bad guys were winning.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
I was in America that day, so I remember that.
Yes. I'm sure you felt something very similar.
Yes, absolutely. But anyways, then that's the end. That's where we end. This clip is with Fozzie trying to convince everyone to.
He says we got to do this for justice.
Yeah, we got to do this for justice, and then that's where we cut off. Fozzie is trying to convince everyone to screw their courage to the sticking place, and
yeah, what else besides justice?
We don't know.
Very
Nothing.
curious.
We'll
so
have
far,
to wait for next week.
We'll find out next week. So any final thoughts before we close? That brings us to the end of these sequences. That brings us to the end of these minutes. Eric, I'll start with you.
My one note I have left is that I try to chase voices. I also try to chase puppeteering, and in the shots like over Kermit and Fozzie showing all of the Muppets, I'm pretty sure that Frank is not performing Fozzie. He is performing Animal. Animal is very animal-y in those shots. You know, his breathing, his looking around. I don't know anyone who can perform Animal like Frank can, and it's just dead on. So, which is interesting because your first thought is he's going to be playing Fozzie in that shot, but no, it's just the back of Fozzie's head. So they save him for the other angle.
Right, you're talking about the shots where Fozzie doesn't have any lines.
Yeah.
So, but that's interesting because he's still. I mean, Kermit is the focal point because he's talking, but you would still think that maybe they would want Frank to play his most important character in that scene, but
I would guess then in that case that Steve Whitmire is performing Fozzie, probably, because we know that Steve Whitmire generally performed Fozzie if Frank was playing another character.
Oh, there you go.
Like during this time, there's a shot of the opening sequence in Muppets Take Manhattan where you can see behind the scenes footage, and Frank is playing Piggy and Steve is performing Fozzie.
Oh, okay.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
Yeah, during Together Again at the start. So, Ryan, anything else?
Just a very small tidbit from the July 22nd, 1980 draft of the screenplay, which is that some of there are a few suggestions for the Muppets overlapping dialogue when they talk about the models and Nicky conspiring to steal the diamond. It says that the Muppets are saying things like, "Let's get 'em. We'll tear 'em apart. Meep, 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 meep. I knew Miss Piggy was innocent. Let's bring her out of jail. Fjord Borkin, bake a bomb cake."
Who did they give the meep, meep, meep line to? I'm guessing Rolf.
There you go. So that was amusing. I don't know if any of those lines actually made it to the screen, but I do like the thought. Actually, is the Swedish Chef even here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a good guess that Meep 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 did.
But I like the thought that the Swedish Chef wants to contribute by baking a cake with a bomb in it.
Yeah, that's a fun idea.
Yeah.
All right. So finally then, Eric, we like to ask all of our guests, what's your history with The Great Muppet Caper? Do you remember the first time you saw it? And where would you rank it among all the Muppet movies?
Okay, so I'm old enough to have actually seen all of the Muppet movies in the theater. Though strangely enough, I did not see Christmas Carol in the theater because I was in college and didn't have a car. So the first time I saw that was on VHS, which means I have very definite opinions about When Love Is Gone, but we can talk about that in a few years.
Sure.
Yes. But yes, so I remember seeing this in the theater. I have this very distinct memory of at the end of the movie, after the credits start rolling, the real credits, not after all the parachuting Muppets, sorry, spoiler alert, and the regular credits, I think my family got up to go. I remember like pausing at the back of the theater because the credits weren't done and there was, music playing and stuff. And so at the very end, when Gonzo comes in and takes a picture of the audience and says he'll send it to me, I have this memory of like, oh, that'll be so great. How will he know how to send it to me? Yeah.
How old were you?
How old were you?
Let's see. What year was this?
81.
81.
81. So I would have been 9.
Okay, so you were really hoping that Gonzo would send you a copy of that picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah.
And let's see. As far as this placement of this movie in the Pantheon, for a long time, I would have said that the Muppet movie was the best because it was the first. And that was pretty much all the reason I needed. It was the original, therefore it was the best. And then I think on the Tough Pigs forum, someone posted the heretical idea that The Great Muppet Caper was actually a better movie. And at first I was aghast. I was like, what? No. But then I started thinking about it, and I started thinking, The Great Muppet Caper is a lot funnier than the first movie. It's just got so many good jokes, and it's well written and all that stuff. And I started thinking, wait, I think I actually like this movie better than the other one. So yeah, Great Muppet Caper is my favorite Muppet movie.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I had something similar happen because of one of those threads on the Tough Pigs forum where it inspired me to watch the first 3 on consecutive nights, and I realized, oh wow, actually, yeah, Great Muppet Caper is just a little bit more entertaining than the Muppet movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're both good, though.
They're both great.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I'd probably put the original as second. Muppet Takes Manhattan, maybe third of the original trilogy.
Yeah,
Reasonable.
me too. All right. So that brings us down to the end for today. Listeners, you can always check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, and anywhere else you can find it. You can follow me on Twitter at ZeppoMarxist. You can follow Ryan at @MeRyanRowe. And Eric, where can our listeners
well, I guess they can just go to the
online.
Tough Pigs forum. They can go to the Tough Pigs forum and read all my wonderful posts on there.
Always a joy.
Yes.
To have you on the forum, and it's been a joy to have you here on the podcast as well. Thanks so much for coming.
You're quite welcome. It was a joy to be on.
Great. Glad to hear it. And listeners, if you're so inclined, give us a positive review on iTunes and tell all your friends about the show. And join us again next week for another episode of Moving Right Along. Goodbye.
Bye. What color are their hands now?
Ditto.